So we're making it official and we're calling this meeting to order of the Issaquah School Board. Today is Wednesday, June 8th, and we are getting started. I will note that Director Moraldo will be arriving in about 15 or 20 minutes because she had a conflict. So she will be walking in at any time. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all stand with me.
One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. So now, first up on the agenda is public input, and we have two specific items that we will start with, and then I will go to names on the list. And the first one has to do with the 10th annual Influence the Choice video contest winning presentation. And for that one, I think I have Addie Powell to come up to the microphone and introduce yourself, and then introduce what you'd like to share about the Influence the Choice video.
I don't know. I always worry about microphones. I'm always really loud. Hi, everyone. I'm Addie. I am a co-chair of TECH, which is Teens Encouraging Community Health. We are a subgroup of Influence the Choice. We recently hosted our 10th annual video contest, and it is an event that put us on the map because when we first went in for funding, they turned us down. And then we got to run this really awesome video contest event, and then we got the funding for it. This year was our 10th year, so it was kind of a big event. We got to have Jacob Eason from the Seattle Seahawks come and present, and we had 23 submissions with 46 participants for 506 video community service hours. So this is Ryan Lee, the alternative timeline.
Thank you. And now we can share the video.
Hello, is this thing on? Okay, so the governor just announced that we have 2 weeks off because of this whole Corona thing. So I think I'm just going to document my progress, just to see if I can become the best version of myself possible. All right. This is day 14 of quarantine, and it looks like we're going to have to stay in here for a little bit longer. This is day 62 of quarantine. Feels like the world is ending, and I'm seriously debating just giving up altogether. My mom just gave me a book about positive norms. I don't know, something about saying positive, but honestly, I think I might give it a shot. There's no way I'm reading this.
Does the coronavirus present a more severe disease?
Okay, I officially launched my freelance business for my video editing.
The Delta strain is also infected.
This is day 366, and it's officially been 1 year since this whole thing started. Second booster shot. This is day 501. Lately, I've been hanging out a lot with my friends and my family, and honestly, it's been blessed. My family keeps asking me if I want to go. I said I don't want to go. I just got my 30th customer. In-person school just started. I just got my 100th client. Day 730, they just released mask mandate. Looks like things are going back to normal.
Yeah, I know. That was the end. That was excellent. That was very good. Thank you, Addie, for introducing the video for us and to share that. Excellent work by our students. And I know they had an award presentation a week or 2 weeks ago over at Liberty High School. So very good. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have an introduction. I think we're going to do other administrators at none of those tonight. They may be at the next one. But tonight, I get to introduce our new superintendent. I'm very excited to introduce Ms. Heather Tawiuk. The board started the superintendent selection process after our superintendent announced his retirement last November. I think you've been our superintendent for 9 years. So it put us on a path to collect input from staff, parents, students, and community regarding what we wanted to see in a new superintendent. And it was clear our choice and the community's choice to select Miss Heather Tauyik. And so she has been, has like 20 years of educational experience as an educator and an educational leader. And she's coming to us from the Mukilteo School District, where she's currently the deputy superintendent. So we would like to welcome Heather. And if you'd like to come up to the microphone and just share for a minute up at this microphone, that would be excellent. Thank you. Yay! We're super excited to get to this point.
I'm very excited as well, and I'm really happy to be here in person tonight. I know when the vote last 2 weeks ago now, a little under that, happened for the contract, I was unable to be here because I was at my hometown of Providence, Rhode Island, visiting my family, meaning my mom and my extended family. And she said to me, "You better do an excellent job, Heather." And so I don't know what's scarier, a parent who holds you deeply accountable to high expectations, or starting a new role in a community that is so much wealth of expertise and resources and history and a foundation of really strong values and success. I mean, I think that video is just such a testament to that. So, a little bit about me. I am a only child of a single mom. And so I'm deeply connected to my mother and to my larger extended family. It's a very important value to me. And she has instilled in me through her own leadership and actions as a person in the community, but also as a mother, that I have to be responsible to the world. And in doing so, I have to do everything I can to be the best version of myself and to help promote that and facilitate that in others. And that really speaks to why I did originally become a teacher. And that was my first job out of college. And through the years, I've just sort of continued to hone some of my values around excellence, which is to consider equitable access, because excellence for all is a very important value, not just excellence for some. And through that, I've learned to be a deep listener. And so engagement to me has been a really important continued value of just sitting and thinking humbly around, there's so much to learn, so much to know. And I actually was just having a conversation with my team members around divergent thinking and how important divergent thinking is to be able to get to really strong solutions, to look at problems in different ways, and to be able to come together to consider all the perspectives that must be included, but also met through any possible next step. So that's a little bit about me. I had thought about bringing my husband and my son, who's 3 3/4, but we are on the struggle bus because sometimes he goes to bed at 9. So that is not okay, especially when you're on the East Coast with a toddler. That means that's midnight. So I am certainly always thinking about how do I get them back into their routine and keep them not my husband, but keep my son in his routine and give some sanity to my husband and myself in that regard. And I am just deeply thrilled. The whole process to leading up to today has been warm, welcoming, and very kind. And I credit the current superintendent for the value of kindness that I think has permeated all the aspects of my engagement and meeting of individuals and leaders here. And I just want to say thank you, because the process really reflects the kind of community that I want to contribute to and be a part of. And I just thank everyone for that. And I want to thank the board for your leadership in helping to spearhead all of that and take that on. It was, you had a lot of inputs. And so you had to sift through a lot of information, and I'm deeply honored and grateful to be able to serve alongside you and with the community here at large. And I've gotten to meet a lot of folks already, and I'm going to ramp up and excited to overlap with Superintendent Thiele and just go from there. So that's me. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. We are so pleased to have you joining us come officially July 1st. I know you're working through some conversations with folks throughout, especially this building. And so we look forward to seeing more of you. All right. So now we will go to public input that is on my list. And we will start with Ethan Flett. Oh, let me go back to my spiel. I'm a little out of order because we had a couple of specific things here. But this portion of the agenda is for community input on items not on the board's regular meeting agenda. If you have input relating to a specific agenda item, please hold your comments until I request input during that particular agenda item. As a general rule, the board will not respond to public input. I ask that you clearly state your name and school attendance area. Limit your comments to 2 minutes, and we'll be using a timer. The board neither endorses nor censors any opinions expressed in public input. Please keep all comments civil and respectful. No comments or applause from the audience, but feel free to wave your hands to show support of the speaker. And with that, now I will start with the first person on public input list, and that's Ethan Flett. Yep, you're my timer. All right, there you go, Ethan.
All right. My name is Ethan Flett. I'm a senior at Issaquah High School. I spoke at the last board meeting about the PE department at IHS, more specifically about how the 5K is harmful to students. However, the run still went on as normal last week. Kids had their goal times they set changed by the teachers, which resulted in anxiety before the race and vomiting afterwards. Students have come and gone for years complaining about PE, and they have all been left without creating change. It doesn't have to be this way. If you've had a negative experience with PE at IHS, contact the Washington Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, also known as OSPI, with your story. People who are in a protected class, like students with 504s and IEPs, can contact the Seattle Civil Rights website to file a complaint. Parents and students will need to take action to create meaningful change in our district. Thank you.
There we go. And the hands are waving. Thanks. Thank you, folks. Thank you for your input. Next up is Chris Flett.
Good evening. My name is Chris Flett, and I am the parent of Ethan Flett, who just spoke with you. I have 2 students in the Issaquah School District, and we've been a member of this community for 6 years. This is home for us. 2 weeks ago, we came and spoke to you about the 5K at Issaquah High School, and 5 days later, kids woke up afraid to get out of bed because they had to run that race. Kids vomited on the course because they had to run goal times given to them by their teachers. That's unacceptable. You had time to make an impact. You still have time to make an impact on the next race. Director Gallinger, you mentioned in your comments that you've been hearing about PE at Issaquah High School for years. What have you done about it? Director Moraldo, who's not here yet, commented about being a non-athlete and being chosen last for sports and athletics. How do you think the students felt when their goal times were posted and they were last, expected to finish last in their class because the teacher had the nerve to post their times? Director Mullins, you have students at Issaquah High School. What are you hearing from your students and what actions have you taken? Director Weaver, you represent our neighborhood. We voted for you. What have you done? Superintendent Thiele, your focus for this year was mental health, social emotional support, equity, student support, and inclusion. How do we make the PE program inclusive for athletes and non-athletes? How do we protect their mental health when teachers make them feel shame? How do we create equity for our students when Liberty doesn't require a 5K? Skyline and Issaquah High School do. I don't understand the inconsistency. And I don't understand the inconsistency in the grading within Issaquah High School. These students have the same objectives, but they're graded differently. It makes no sense.
Thank you for your input. I need you to go ahead and end there at the 2-minute time so everybody can be respectful of the time.
I want to
Thank
be
you.
respectful of the time. And I appreciate the new superintendent coming in and being able to make change
Thank you.
in your first few weeks and all.
Next up is Lisa Stratton.
Hi, I'm Lisa Stratton, and my daughter is a rising senior at Issaquah High School. As the mother of a daughter, I was so excited when she signed up for self-defense as her PE class. I wanted her to learn how to protect herself as she makes her way through the world. Instead of learning self-defense, she spent time running, tracking her time, gearing up, running, gearing up for this 5K. Why? What does that serve? If she was in a running class or in track and field, I could understand it. But in self-defense, in yoga, just no. Teachers and administrators are entrusted with precious cargo. They are shaping the hearts and minds of the future. In a country where nearly 40% of American adults are obese, according to the CDC, and 70% of all Americans are either overweight or obese, schools are in the unique position to help kids find joy in physical activity to set them up for a healthier life. The PE options at IHS have such potential to inspire and delight students. Hiking, dance, yoga, self-defense, CrossFit, weight training. But more time is spent running than on the core offering. PE options have come a long way since I graduated from high school, but the stories surrounding PE at IHS are heartbreaking. Teachers body shaming with comments on clothing and how bras fit, students forced to run while injured, throwing up after running, track stars not even able to get an A because their times were too slow. What does that teach the students? To hate running, to hate physical activity, to hate their bodies, to hate themselves? These are just a few of the students' stories I've heard in the last few weeks, but students and parents have experienced the same things for years now. The PE situation is a known issue at the school and in the district. Parents and students have been lodging their complaints and concerns for years now. This is the year, this is the time to make meaningful changes to help students find the physical activity that they will want to do for the rest of their life to help keep them healthy.
Thank you for your input. And I do see the hands waving. And I would like to say for those that have described issues with PE at Issaquah High School, or really this could be true anywhere or any class, that I hope that they are taking their situation with their student and emailing the Principal Connolly, because hearing just stories in general that are being passed from one to the next isn't something that's as actionable as a parent emailing Principal Connolly or whoever is the principal at a school, their specific instances with their specific child. And so that would be the best situation. So I appreciate anybody that's doing that. And if they haven't, that is the first thing that they should be doing. Thank you. All right. Next up is, let's go with Megan Wuffin Levy. And I'm sorry if I have said that wrong, but you can introduce yourself and state your name that way.
Good evening. My name is Megan Wuffin Louis. I'm a teacher at Skyline High School, previously at Issaquah High School. During the COVID-19 pandemic shut down our musical during opening week, the theater program at IHS has never recovered. At the end of last year, the theater program, in part because of the rift, was cut from 2 classes down to 1, even though there was student interest to have more. And now, even though enough students have signed up for 4 theater classes, only 2 are being run next year because of funding and staffing cuts. And I'm here to advocate for the district to live up to its mission and support the arts. I understand that you do not micromanage staffing decisions or any decisions at the high schools. However, it is your responsibility to know what is going on at the schools in this district and the impact of your budget decisions on these vital programs. The district mission, I'm paraphrasing for time, it's right there on the wall. Theater education is proven to do just that. A 2017 study found that at-risk students engaged in theater program demonstrate improved confidence, creativity, resiliency, responsibility, collaboration, and a sense of community. Theater education builds resilient, creative, confident people ready for the challenges of a dynamic global environment, which is what you claim is your mission. In recent years, the district has been focusing on SEL content, which is an excellent idea. A 2016 study found that arts education helps increase students' ability to manage behavior, make decisions, and cultivate a positive concept of self. What is that, if not crucial SEL content? And finally, COVID-19 hit the students furthest from educational justice the hardest, and it is these students that need our specific focus as we return to in-person. A 2016 study found The disadvantaged students who receive an arts education are 3 times more likely to earn a bachelor's degree. On a more personal note, so many of my students have expressed that the reason they come to school is because of the theater program. In theater, students can be who they truly are and find the welcome, support, and love that they deeply need. And because of this supportive community, students with high levels of arts involvement are less likely to drop out of school, which is also part of your goal. The kids are struggling right now, and theater helps them thrive. Theater arts is more than entertainment. It is an essential program that supports the social and emotional needs of our students. Every student that participates in the theater arts is better for having been a part of it. The kids want this program, they deserve it, and they need it. I hope you contact students to hear the stories that your budget cuts have had on their education. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your input. And again, the hands are waving, so I appreciate that, folks. Next up is Ayanna Meisner.
Hi, my name is Elena Meisner from Issaquah High School Boundary. Wasn't planning on coming this evening, but here I am again. You're welcome. The suspension of Coach Crandall based on nothing but the ramblings of a disgruntled parent, despite the numerous players and parents and community members who have come out consistently and in force to try to correct this insane narrative, is nothing but ridiculous. Multitudes of complaints have been lodged for years and years regarding consistent abuse by several IHS PE teachers, causing actual physical and mental harm to students. So bad that incoming parents all know how to avoid PE. They avoid it at all costs, many enrolling their children at Bellevue College instead. These complaints have gone on for years, always falling on deaf ears. And yes, absolutely, specific instances have been emailed to principals. I mean, everybody knows this is a long-standing issue. Nothing has been done. But Doug Crandall is the one you decide to go after. He's the only one who cares about kids in this scenario, the only one who advocates for them and fights for them. And it's nonsensical to me that something like this can happen for years with nothing. And then this tiny little unsubstantiated issue. And that's where we decide to lay it down. Don't get me started on the bait and switch of levy dollars advertised for the mental health services for our children, desperately needed, but carelessly and nonchalantly just cut one day after passing the levy. But we're building a rainy day fund and I don't know, heavy admin expenses. Has that been a part of the conversation? I haven't heard it. All of this makes your constituents feel as if they have no voice, and it's unacceptable. My hope is that the new superintendent, who I'm so happy is here, can right the ship. It's a big job, and I'm trying to have faith because honestly, after pulling my oldest in private school, my remaining 2, it's looking pretty likely.
Thank you for your input. Next up is Ken Sunderland. I have a note here that you represent a group. If you could articulate what specific group that would be. But general parents aren't a group. Well, in general, the group relates to an organization like the Kiwanis or the Rotary or a specific organization. So you represent the IHS boosters. Are you one of their officers? Okay, then you may set the timer for 3 minutes.
Despite parents and players coming to the school board meetings for the past 6 months, we continue to be stonewalled with legalisms of personnel matters and privacy claims. However, we as parents have confirmed the root cause of this investigation through the use of public records requests. Although Coach Crandall has universal player and parent support of the entire team, we are all aware that one former team member became unsatisfied with Coach Crandall after a coaching decision. I happen to think highly of this former player and her family, but it is the consensus of opinion of the entire team that Coach Crandall made the correct decision, both for the former player and the team. I'm sure all the members of this board, just like all the parents of our team, have been witness to many parents who've complained about a coach when their child didn't get as much playing time, were not being featured in the offense, or some other small detail as they had hoped. When a disgruntled parent who loved our coach right up to the day he made a certain decision that didn't favor their daughter, abruptly changes their mind, that is surely within their right. However, it is insane that the district would not take the context of this situation into account. Does our school district suspend teachers on non-disciplinary paid administrative leave every time a parent is annoyed when Johnny or Susie gets a failing grade and the parent complains? I certainly hope not.
but that is the exact same rationale as is being used here. This investigation was completed by Jennifer Parda at the end of April. It is now June, and not one word from the district to Coach Crandall or to the parents and players of the team. You continue to think that we will go away, but we will not. We are so disgusted by the school district and that the Issaquah Booster Club has hired Coach Crandall to coach the Issaquah High School June summer season. The girls are ecstatic to have him back. He is literally coaching them right now while you continue to hide from this fiasco. Some of you have daughters and have taken the stance that you can never be too careful. And it's true that we as ISD parents want our children to be educated, coached, and nurtured by the best possible people for the job. We had that person in Coach Crandall until you allowed it to be stripped away by the HR department. Not our AD, not our principal, but the HR department. The ISD has the audacity to post our IHS girls basketball head coaching position recently with no word from the district as to the results from the investigation. I implore you to stop allowing the HR department to parse out innuendos and half-truths. Demand to see the full investigation report and rehire Coach Crandall to his rightful place as head of our program. There is no lawsuit now, and there never needs to be if Coach Crandall is rehired. Don't listen to lawyers with hidden agendas of receiving big paychecks. Speak to Coach Crandall directly and finally put our daughters as your first priority. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your input. And I see some hands going up. All right. Next up is Bernali Basso. And again, you can fix the name in my pronunciation of it.
Good evening. I'm Bernali Basso, mother of sixth grader from Maywood Middle. It's more than 2 weeks since the Uvalde incident. I'm sure there are many more parents like me that think that it's wrong to move on with life as usual. This time around, we cannot just do our usual rounds of blaming politicians and lawmakers. It's time to take things in our hands, do whatever possible by us, of course, by still respecting the laws of the nation. We really have to step up now. Coming to a solution, there is no easy solution. This issue has to be tackled from multiple angles: gun laws, mental health, loving and caring homes for our kids, and last but not the least, school security. We as individuals do not have a lot with the first three to make any quick change as parents and educators. But we do have a lot of scope to secure our schools. Tonight, I'm here to get that thought process going. I talked through the security aspect with my daughter, now a sixth grader. We went through the school maps of both her elementary and middle school. And within minutes, we realized that it's too easy for anyone with the wrong intention to enter either building. We absolutely need to tighten up security at each and every school. Fences, multiple armed guards, whatever it takes. A wise friend even mentioned that there are a slew of retired veterans who would happily volunteer their time. It is time we get those ideas flowing and, most importantly, execute them ASAP. We are already out of time. Some children somewhere in this country are already targets of the next shooting spree. Let that never happen, please. Let not any parent ever have to bring back their bullet-tripped dead children home only to say a final goodbye. I'm requesting the ISD board to start a conversation around this as soon as possible and how we all can come together as a community to safeguard our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your input. And again, the hands are waving. All right. I think the last one on paper is Osmer, WD Osmer, if you'd like to come up. And then Stephen, do we have anybody on Zoom? Okay.
Good evening. My name is William Osmer. I do not have children in the Issaquah School District. However, I'm a taxpayer in the district. First of all, I think 2 minutes to make for oral comments is ridiculous. I'm the co-chair of the C-Care PAC. You need to be advised that C-Care is not, and I quote, just a bunch of a-holes from Providence Point, as one of your supporters so kindly referred to us on the IEA website during the levy campaign. You're putting up over 11,000 votes against your proposition number 2 and coming within a mere 770 votes of defeating it is not, doesn't convince you of that. Then wait until you try to submit yet another capital levy to fund ES 17. Secondly, as has already been mentioned, you had the unmitigated and reprehensible gall to purposefully wait until 3 days after that election to publicly admit that you were facing an operating deficit of over $20 million. And further, that you were taking steps to cut school staff and programs that the voters had already voted to support. So much for your responsibility to be transparent to your constituents. Furthermore, faced with this deficit and continuing reduced enrollments, how do you propose to fund the operation of high school 4 once it is built? At last night's town hall, you refused to answer that question, only claiming that we need this school. No, you do not need this $200 million environmental disaster. You may want it, but you do not need it. There are plenty of options for solving the overcrowding issues that don't cost $200 million. But you refuse to even consider them. What you do need to do is start saving the taxpayers' money instead of spending it unnecessarily.
Thank you for your input. And I know you had emailed us and we will all and have read your email. Thank you. Okay, unless there's anyone, a few hands went up. Unless there's anybody else that wants to give public input, would you like to? Then you may come over to the microphone and state your name and the area of the district.
Be too tall. All right, my name is Elena Bland, and I was actually a 2020 senior at Issaquah High School. And personally, I've heard all the stories of Issaquah PE, and I heard about it before I even went to Issaquah. I ended up being one of those students that was forced to run. I then injured myself again because I was forced to run, specifically by 2 PE teachers who believe that yelling at the children or telling us that we're not doing it right is how they're going to get us to succeed. However, when I did injure myself from that, almost every single student, past and present, told me it didn't matter if I went to the principal, she's not going to do anything. Because so many times other students had gone to the principal and nothing happened. So I told my mom, I don't want you to email the principal. I don't want to try and hurt this PE teacher's reputation. That was until I found out he's been doing it, she's been doing it. They've been doing it to all of these students. And it's just unbelievable to me because I was someone who enjoyed running. I loved running. I'd run a 10K a week. And I started to hate running because I was forced to run. I was chased while I was running by adults, grown adults, when I was 14 years old, pushing me to run faster. That's not okay. If the state doesn't require a 5K, why are they forcing us to do it? Thank you.
Thank you for your input. And again, I see the hands go up. Yes. All right. All right, that is the end of public input. Thank you for everybody that gave your input. As much as this isn't really an opportunity for dialogue, the board all appreciates hearing the input from everyone that came forward tonight. All right, we are on to the approval of the consent agenda. And so we'll start with a motion.
I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so we have 4 ayes and an abstain. All right. Are there any changes to the regular agenda?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. Next up is the WASA regional meeting report out. WASA, which is the Washington State School Director Association, which is the statewide association kind of overall school directors within the state. They are a resource to us and we're members of that. Anyway, we're a part of Region 2 and they held their meeting at the Lake Washington School District Service Center in Redmond on May 25th. Myself, Marnie, and Harlan were able to attend that one. It was a good opportunity to meet with fellow board members. I know Bellevue, Lake Washington, North Shore were there. The superintendent of, or the incoming superintendent of Mercer Island was there. Fred Rundle, who actually happens to be an ISD parent. I don't know if there were any other school districts that were there, but it was a good opportunity for us to meet with our counterparts at these school districts. We had good discussion and sharings over things and how things have gone over the last couple of years. So I thought it worked well to be able to meet in person and chat with the people there. I don't know if Marnie or Harlan have anything they would like to add since they were there.
President Moore, thanks for attending. It was actually our second one. In the springtime, we have done this pilot where we're doing 2 in King County because King County is such a big space and traveling throughout the county in rush hour is really difficult. And so from an equitable standpoint, to try and really leverage support and for school directors across our county, particularly South King County, we had one in Federal Way as well. And, our continued hope, and we spent time on really trying to dive deep into what do school directors need and want from WASA as WASA goes through a strategic planning process in order to better serve school directors. And so our hope is that moving forward as we go through, and Marnie is on that work along with me, that we can really position WASA to be an even better organization for the next decade.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, I think it's a good opportunity for us to hear what is it that we should be doing to support our customers, which WASDA's customers are school board associations. And I was sitting there going, I wish NSBA would have done this years ago.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I was really sorry to miss the meeting. I had signed up, but you guys didn't want to catch what I had. So I decided to stay home. I did not realize there was a remote option, or I would have chimed in on that. But
yeah,
I will attend the next one, I promise.
Yep. Well, there'll be another one in the fall. So good. I'm glad that there are 2 of them because that does make it so much easier for those of us on this part to not also have to traverse the entire Region 2 area to make it to a regional meeting.
Yeah, Federal Way is not an attractive option.
It is challenging to get to. So
I'm just wondering when they will finally decide to split
into
the DA.
Into 2 regions.
Because we get twice as many representatives on all the committees and on the board.
So just make it 2.
Just make it 2.
Yeah.
Well, because we represent 25%
I know.
of the state school children.
Yeah. So if you could split it in 2 and still each have 2, and that would be a good representation as well. There you go. That's my suggestion. All right. Thank you. All right. Next up is the adoption of the director district boundary map. And so we'll start with a motion.
I move the board adopt the revised director district boundaries as presented at the May 26th, 2022 board meeting.
Second.
All right. At the May 26th meeting, so the prior one, the administration presented the recommended revisions to the existing director district boundaries in order to equalize the populations in each of our districts. By law, we do this every 10 years around the census when that new information is available. We held a public hearing at that meeting and received no public input. And if there were anybody here tonight that had any public input related to it in the room or Zoom or anything, I would take that. But if not, then this will be the adoption of the director district map once the board takes action, assuming it gets passed, and then it will get sent to King County, as well as the details will be created that we would ultimately put in our OGP 6, because that needs to get updated and reflected. And we'll probably incorporate that with any other changes that we might come out with of our policy review that we do at our retreat. And so I think that would probably be the timing. All of this would then be the director areas used in the school board election that will occur, the next one being in 2023. So all of this just kind of leads up to that. So if there are any questions or comments or discussion? All right, hearing none, then all those in favor of adoption of the new director district boundary map, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, that is unanimously passed. All right, then next up is EL5 external actual financial conditions. And so we'll start with a motion.
I move the board accept the annual monitoring report for EL5, actual financial condition and activities, annual audit report as presented.
Second.
All right, so I'll turn it over to you, Superintendent, for anything you'd like to share about this particular one. And
Well, thank you, President Moore. What I'll share, and I know we spoke to this briefly last time, this is actually a point of celebration for us because this represents our 20th consecutive year without an audit finding. I think that's a pretty impressive statistic, no matter how you look at it. And compliments to our business office team, who are here tonight to talk to this. But I want to be clear that while the three individuals here before us represent the leadership, there's a big team up there that does this work and out in the buildings as well. Wherever anybody is handling money or anything like that, there's a lot of financial controls, and it takes the whole organization to be able to get clean audits year after year after year. So I think we could be very proud of that as a school system. So as I said, the team is here to speak to that. I know, I believe you, Director Moore.
So myself and Director Moraldo, we were able to attend the audit exit conference, which is actually one of the really nice things to attend, because not only is it great that we have our 20th clean audit, which kudos to all involved in the district that got us to that, but it's also the recognition from the auditor's office about how well our team works with the auditor's office with the collection of information. It's very collaborative. Our team is always very willing to give whatever information the auditor's office wants. And so it's always having that really good collaboration, because even our team values that audit. It's an important process. It's an important step. And as I know some of you have said, someday there may be something, and it's about how we respond to that. And I have great confidence in how you all will respond to those things. I did think it was interesting. There are two parts of it. There's the accountability audit, and the items that they went through in that were the use of restricted funds, compliance with supplemental contracts for enrichment activities, payroll deposits, and then open public meetings, which we had not seen them do before, as far as our compliance with meeting the Open Public Meeting Act, our minutes, our transparency on that part of it. Yes, which again, flying colors.
And you did not get an audit finding.
We didn't. So we aim to do well with it, and we have done well with it. And then, of course, financial conditions. And then the other part of the audit is the financial statement and federal single audit that covers like the Title I grants and the special education, which are very complex systems that, again, returning that clean audit is so important and valuable. So kudos to the team. And I don't know if Marnie has anything else she'd like to share from the audit exit conference.
No, I just think, it's a great opportunity. Again, we do this every year, even though the state says you can do it every 2 years, because we feel it's important that we remain consistent, because the government changed that several years back. But this board decided, no, every year having that audit, having just the ability to present to the public that we are very careful with those taxpayer dollars.
And I don't know if any of you would like to chime in about anything.
Jacob Cooper, CFO. So pleasure to be with you this evening. It's my final meeting with you all. It's been a pleasure serving you for 18 years. To put it in perspective, I was overseeing 19 of the 20 consecutive clean audits. And 20 years of expenditures, about $6.5 billion of the public money when you look at a general fund and construction, et cetera. So top to bottom, community to board, you should be very proud of the fact that, and we heard some comments earlier that, I would normally get up here and refute, but that's beside the point. So under our tenure here in the team, and this is a bit of a baton passing to the new team here, but $6.5 billion approximately of public money have gone through our eyes and ears and without a blemish on our audit record. And so you can be very proud of that. And that is a significant amount of money. And the team, again, it is a team approach. And so I'd like to close with that and then let the team take over. But again, lovely to serve you all for nearly 2 decades. I'm glad we're ending on a high note, and just know that accountability will continue with the new team in place. And good evening to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you, Mr. Cooper.
Accountability has been key and will continue.
Hey, Martin Turney, Executive Director of Finance and Support Services. I just wanted to, again, I know it's been mentioned this is a team effort, but the person on the team who is the liaison is standing right over here to the left. Mariah, she's joining us for probably the first time, I think. So she deserves the recognition for all the work she did to usher the auditors around and make sure that we were staying in good shape. So congratulations, Mariah. 20 more for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Good evening, Director of Finance, Mariah Vanasek. And I just want to thank all the departments and the school staff. So they put in so much effort into their internal controls and their documentation. They're very, very helpful during the audit. And it is a collaborative effort with everyone. And we appreciate that. And they're always helpful. And we really enjoy the process and working with the auditors as well. So 20 years is amazing. I talked to the state schools team and they said they were like, really 20 years? They hadn't heard something like that. So that's amazing. Kudos to our district. And also with the open public meetings, they didn't have any recommendations. So there were definitely no audit findings, but no recommendations either. So
excellent
as well. So in most of the areas. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's absolutely an enormous team effort. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to, again, thank you all and all of the people that work with the auditors. I've been involved in audits before. I know how big of a job it is. I also know from previous audit exit interviews that the state audit team always comments about how helpful for the finance staff is, how the information is always readily available, and how easy you are to work with. I know some of that happens because a lot of you came from the auditor's office, but that's a good thing. And I know sometimes we take grief from the social media gnomes that we're just sitting here spending 10 minutes patting ourselves on the back. But I think we'd be taking a lot more grief if we weren't having clean audits. And I appreciate Mr. Cooper putting it in perspective of $6.5 billion having been audited over the last 19 years. That's a ton of taxpayer money. Ron always talks about how we're very cognizant of the fact we're spending other people's money. And as Marnie said, it's important to this board that we review that every year. And it's very important to this board that we've had 20 consecutive clean audits. I can't imagine there's another district out there that's done it. And it should really be a point of pride for all of us. So thank you.
And if I could, first of all, I just want to thank Mr. Cooper for leading the ship here for 18 years. And I realized that I believe I started attending those audit exit interviews when I was associate superintendent. So that was probably my 14th. And, I've always looked forward to that conversation because I've always gone into it knowing I had a clean audit. And I was just thinking as I was listening to everybody talk, I wonder what it's like when you go into one of those and you've got audit findings. And then if you're the superintendent thinking, how am I going to communicate this to my board and to my community? So thank you for never making me have to do that. I'm very much appreciative of it. And I also would like to acknowledge and congratulate Mariah for her new promotion as executive director in the business and finance office. And of course, as Mr. Cooper, our current CFO, pointed out, kind of a passing of the baton, if you will, to our incoming CFO, Mr. Turney. So we've had a great team in place. We continue to have a great team. I know that incoming Superintendent Heather Talyik is excited about the team that's in place. When you're a superintendent, having a good business office is really critical. And I know she is looking forward to working with the team and very appreciative to have the continuity there with a lot of change coming in the district. So thank you all for a great job. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Applaud to them.
Okay, unless there are any other comments? All right, all those in favor of approval of EL5 actual financial conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimously passed. Oh,
I believe that was the last EL or monitoring report that I'll ever preside over as superintendent. It just occurred to me as you said that. So for me, that's just a little milestone.
milestone. Hold on to that.
I'm really glad it was this one. That's a
good
great one
It's a
to
good
end
one
on.
To go
Yeah.
out on. It absolutely is. Good point. All right, we are on to legislative matters.
I don't have anything pending, but we're probably need to get some meetings on the books pretty soon since our schedule is so hard to figure out. So we can start scheduling meetings with legislators. I think as tired as I am doing that, I think we heard very clearly from our community that that's something that they want to see us to continue to do. And so we'll continue to do everything we can to fight on behalf of this community. So I'll be sending out an email in a little bit about trying to find times that if we can pair off the 5th and the 41st. So.
Okay, and Marnie, did you have anything?
None for me.
Okay, thank you. All right, yep, let us know what you start working out for the meetings with the legislators. All right, we are on to works in progress.
I just tried to catch Dr. Almey's attention as he was walking out the door.
Hey, Nancy.
Can you grab
Can you
Josh
grab
for
Josh?
me? I didn't want to let him escape.
Sorry.
He's trying. The reason I want Josh in the room is because this is also Dr. Almey's last board meeting as an ISD employee. And I had nice things to say about it and I want him to hear it, but there he is. He tried to sneak out, you know, he's kind of shy. Yeah. I was just sharing Dr. Almey, our deputy superintendent. This will be Dr. Almey's last board meeting as an ISD employee. Well, of course, you're a young man unless you come back at some time in the future. But I just want to say that Josh has just been an outstanding leader in our district. He's had a tremendous impact. He led Beaver Lake Middle School. He led Liberty High School. He oversaw our middle schools, and he has been our deputy superintendent for a number of years and just done an outstanding job, particularly these last few years as our COVID supervisor and managing just, this has become a really big system and the demands on a superintendent. And I served in the role that Josh is in for 5 years as well. But the demands on the superintendent pull you away from the day-to-day operations quite a bit. And it has given me tremendous comfort to know that Josh has been in that seat. And I know that the staff around the district think very, very highly of Dr. Almey. And whenever I go around with him, he's just made so many connections and had such an impact on so many and hired, I'm sure, hundreds and hundreds of folks too in his various roles. So I wanted to personally thank you, Dr. Almey. I know the board knows, but he's got an exciting adventure for him and his family. He is taking them over to Doha, Qatar, where he will be a principal at an international school. And I know that that's something that you've kind of dreamed about since your days when you taught overseas. So we're very happy for you. And thank you and congratulations for just an amazing job here, Dr. Almey.
Thank you, Superintendent Thiele. Thank you, school board. I guess the only thing, I didn't really think I was going to be speaking, but I'll be brief. Whatever I have been able to give the Issaquah School District over the past 18 years, they've given back to me tenfold. So I just want to thank the board. Even over the past 2.25 years, it's been difficult, but you have always been very supportive of me. And I want to thank you for that, even during very difficult times. And even though I will be on the other side of the world at the American School of Doha with my family, I will be keeping close tabs on the Issaquah School District. I wish it nothing but the best. This is an amazing community. A piece of me will always be here, And thank you very much.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Josh.
You can slip out now, Josh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
I will note that Nancy and Josh worked together for years too at Beaver Lake Middle School. So I did have a few other things I just wanted to share. First of all, I wanted to congratulate the newest PTSA in our school district. Director Mullings and I and Assistant Superintendent Dr. Dana Bailey and Executive Director Shireen Carver had the pleasure of each speaking at their inaugural meeting earlier this week. And that was a lot of fun. And there are a lot of energized and enthusiastic folks out there in our new PTA. And as I noted at that meeting, at least in the time that I've been affiliated with the ISD, we added 3 new PTAs this year because we opened 2 new schools and we have the new special ed PTA. So, and the PTA is just an amazing organization here in the ISD and has just done wonderful things over the 21 years that I've been here for sure. So that was nice. Want to congratulate those folks. I did want to just note that, and earlier today we had our ISD retirement event and we were able to do it in person again for the first time in 3 years. It was the first time we were ever able to do it in this building. And kudos to our human resources department for putting that on. As I said at the event, it's critical that we attract and retain good employees. And it's also critical that we honor and recognize those good employees when they transition into retirement and thank them for their contribution to our students, staff, and community. So it was a lovely event. And I will just share, we have 57 retirees, including one right here. Collectively, we have 1,050 years of service in public education. So it was a fun event. I hope the word gets out so that each year more and more people who are retiring, and we have little events out in the school. Well, they're not little, important events that they do out in the schools and stuff. But we just want our retirees to know that as a central office, we also want to recognize and honor them. So kudos to the HR department for bringing that event back this year. And then lastly, I just, you all know this because this week you're doing a lot of this stuff with me. Very busy time wrapping up with year-end celebrations and events. And on the staff side, completing our evaluations and finish all of that work. And for me personally, transition work will start with incoming Superintendent Talyik. And so it is a very busy time. And in fact, a lot of our cabinet are experiencing this with their own children tonight. We have finals in baseball tournaments and we have graduations out there. So, and I knew that the agenda was a little lighter than normal. So that's why you don't see a lot of them here tonight because they're off doing their family stuff too. So busy time, but exciting time. And of course, we're very, very excited about our upcoming graduations the next few days as well. So that's all I had for tonight.
Great, thank you. Glad we got that in. All right, we are on to announcements and correspondence. If anybody has anything direct they need to, that hasn't already gone to Diane. Okay, nothing. And now on to calendar and future agenda topics. And this time we do start with a motion because we have the 2022-2023 Policy Governance Monitoring Report calendar for the next year.
I move the board adopt the Policy Governance Monitoring Calendar for 2022-23 as presented.
Second.
Does anybody have any questions, comments? All right, then all those in favor adoption of the 2022-2023 Policy Governance Monitoring Report calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that unanimously passes. I do want to add one point, although the superintendent here said that EL5 was his last EL. That's true in his time here. I have talked with superintendent that EL2, which is our treatment of people, has not come before us yet. We made major revisions to that April 22nd of 21, and both in dealing with the changes and the new monitoring for it and the work that the district has been doing, trying to keep schools staffed with people from admin going out to buildings, they have not been able to get that report entirely put together. So we And I accepted that we would monitor in August for the 21-22 school year. So we're still going to monitor it, but we're going to take care of it in August.
On behalf of the cabinet staff and their support, thank you for that. You're absolutely correct, President Moore, as the team was working on that. This latest round of COVID that has hit our system seemed to hit particularly hard on the staff side this time, starting at the elementary, and it's moved up a little bit into the secondary schools. And as a result, because we are so committed to keeping our schools open, they were being deployed out to do a lot of work. Diane has gone out and supervised lunch this year. She actually enjoyed it, she told me. So
Nice change.
I don't know what that says about spending time with me, but that you would rather be in a middle school lunchroom, which I spent lots of years in those myself over my career. But the staff is very much appreciative of that. They always strive to bring you a good report. And I think that they were struggling with the time factor. So it's much appreciated that you did that. And I will certainly, as part of my transition work with Heather on that as well to make sure that that report will be in good shape, ready to come to you at your August meeting.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. And then other items. Wanted to thank all of you for the town hall last night that y'all did. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be there, but I've heard good things about it and it was well attended. So I appreciate all that you did to put on that town hall. Another item for us to think about is the July 14th board meeting. It's expected to be a consent only board meeting. Sometimes when it's agreeable to the board, we've moved that to daytime instead of having a 10-minute meeting at 6 o'clock. So I don't know, I'm kind of throwing that out and that again, we at a minimum need a quorum, if not all, but again, expect it to be consent only. So I know I would be available if we did it something like at 10 in the morning, but it would be open to everybody else's agreement to that.
I'm available any time of day.
10 a.m. on the 14th would work for me.
Any interest, Harlan? Yeah. I mean, we're talking because it's at this point, if we think it's consent agenda only, I have no reason to think there'll be anything else on it. And so it would take 10 minutes because we don't even on those take public input. So it would just be to open the meeting, do the pledge, do the consent and be done. And that would be fine. Okay.
I was assuming we'd all be virtual.
And you can be virtual. Yeah,
Okay.
I may come in so that I'm present while we do it, but we'll see. But yes, so if is that agreeable then? Because then if that works, then we could take a motion to change the July 14th meeting to 10 a.m.
So moved.
Yeah. Let her do it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Diane, is that good enough? Okay, so all those in favor of changing the July 14th board meeting to 10 a.m., please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that unanimously passes. So Diane, now we can move forward with that meeting at 10 a.m. and we'll just know we're going to have several board members that will be virtual and that's just fine. Okay.
I can be in person because
Yeah.
I'm 5 minutes away.
Okay, me too. So we'll via virtual. Okay, good. And I mentioned the treatment of people. Oops, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Next thing up. I did talk to Mariah and they are going to be doing, I guess we called it FACT. The FACT, I don't even remember what that exactly stands for. Financial Advisory Committee Team.
So it's not the FACT team, it's FACT. But
Yes. They will be bringing FACT back together to take a look at their budget and they're looking to meet the last week of July. So normally we've had a board member on that. If anyone would like to volunteer and has availability that last week of July, probably a Tuesday, Thursday timing. And that's all I got out of this so far.
Last week of July, Tuesday or Thursday, so you're talking the 26th or 28th?
I think so.
I could not do the 26th. I could
Okay.
do the 28th, but if Harlan wants
Yeah,
to.
Harlan, you want to do it? Okay, so let's put Harlan first. And then is anybody else interested if that doesn't end up working out? I know I'm here the last week of July, but
I'm here the 28th, but I'm not here the 26th, so.
Right now I have it open, but
okay. So I'll put it down, Harlan, Marnie, and myself. And then it's just about availability as we go, because it's just really just one person will do it. So
That's fine.
as it gets to that moment, then we'll see. And I'll let Mariah know once they get down to the nitty gritties of the timing of it, based on when they get the other people that are a part of that team. I know they try to get them all together at once to have the conversation. Sometimes they have to do it as one-offs when they can't really get everybody together, but we'll let them work on that. And then, we just have our upcoming events. We have the Issaquah Liberty Skyline graduation tomorrow at T-Mobile. And then we have Gibson Eck graduation on Friday at 1 at the Issaquah Community Center. And we have the ACT graduation June 15th at 3 at Gibson Eck High School. And then Ron's retirement on June 16th. So just wanted to mention those dates. And then unless there's anything else from the board, no, we are adjourned.